And good morning, everyone. Welcome to This Day.
Good morning. Today is Wednesday, February 19th, and we take you back in time to 1914.
Wow.
Very interesting, that time of year.
Okay.
So we'll tell you in just a bit.
All right, and we've got a good show for you today. From Harvard Eye, we have Dr. Brian Kim, and it's Macular Degeneration Month, but he is going to talk about that along with this cool device that he was in on developing, and it's just, the technology is just fantastic. Also, we have a doctor from Kaiser Permanente, Orange County, and he is going to talk about aging. From the Orange County Sheriff's Department, we have Under Sheriff Bob Peterson, and then the American Legion is here today. Dennis Powell and Joe Rayner is going to talk about their upcoming meeting.
All right, well, we have a boatload of meetings to tell you about. We have the village traffic hearings, the AM and PM ones. The AM will be at 9 a.m. in the boardroom, and the afternoon is 1 o'clock in the Sycamore room. Then we have the GRF Media and Communications meeting, which will be at 9:30 in the Willow room. We have the Select Audit Task Force, which will be at 1 o'clock in the boardroom. The GRF Finance meeting, 1:30 in the boardroom. And then Third New Resident Orientation will be at 4:30, and they ask if you please RSVP to becky.jackson@vmsinc.org. All right, well, one of the most overlooked and yet most significant innovations of the early 20th century might be the post office decision to start shipping large parcels and packages through the mail. While private delivery companies flourished during the 19th century, the parcel post dramatically expanded the reach of mail order companies to America's many rural communities, as well as the demand for their products. When the post office's parcel post officially began on January 1st, 1913, the new service suddenly allowed millions of Americans great access to all kinds of goods and services. But almost immediately, it had some unintended consequences as some parents tried to send their children through the mail. A 10-month-old baby boy, the child of Mr. and Mrs. Jesse Bogue from Batavia, Ohio, was posted for the cost of 15 cents in stamps, though his parents did insure him for $50. In the most famous case, on February 19, 1814, a 5-year-old May Pierstorff was mailed via train from her home in Idaho with the stamps pinned to her coat. Evidently, it was cheaper than other means if the child was under the 50-pound parcel weight limit. Now, of course, this practice is not as callous as it first appears. Postmen were trusted local officials whom rural people usually knew very well. May Pierstorff was herself sent with a cousin who was a postal clerk. Nevertheless, the U.S. Postal Service tried to shut down the practice and had to issue a directive that no humans were to be carried in the mail. So I think many times we love to ship our kids off, but certainly not in that fashion. Ken?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. That is really interesting. Now, the child wasn't put in a box. They were just like, kind of like when you put a kid on a plane and you ask them to please watch them. And yeah, interesting. Wow. Well, there you go.
The things you learn.
Great story, yeah. All right, our weather today, we have a little more clouds out there today. It's a bit cooler. Yesterday was absolutely beautiful out. And, you know, about 68 degrees today, still warm for this time of the year. Look at tomorrow, we go up a little slight winds. Then Friday and Saturday, I've been telling you about the rain. It looks like rain will come in late Friday, more than likely after 8, 9 o'clock at night, and then into Saturday, probably midday. So we're looking at not a lot, 1/4 of an inch maybe, and you know, we'll still have some sunshine like Friday morning more than likely. And then as we get to Saturday afternoon, things will start to clear up. We could certainly need a lot more rain than that, but it's good to get a bit. You can see on Saturday, look at the drop in temperature. So this will be a bit of a cool system, just a bit, but not too much at all. Then we start to warm things back up on Sunday, and looking ahead, looks like maybe Monday and Tuesday we could get those Santa Ana winds back. So we'll see about that. Now, as far as Orange County and beyond goes, you know, nice everywhere you go, but as I was just saying, everything's down by a couple degrees from yesterday. but still we're looking at a great weather. A little bit of scattered clouds. Actually, we got that late yesterday, but that should pretty much dissipate to a very nice day. And Palm Springs, 78 degrees out there, so beautiful out there this time of year. Okay, we'll be back in just a moment.
Before the next earthquake, take 30 seconds to refresh your memory about these important disaster preparedness tips. Make a family emergency plan. Decide how you'll get in touch with each other, where you'll go, and what you'll do in an emergency. Build a disaster supply kit with enough water, food, and emergency supplies to last at least 3 days. It's important to have disaster supply kits for work, cars, and pets too. Find and fix items in your home that might hurt someone by moving, breaking, or falling during an earthquake. Know how to react safely when the ground shakes. If you're inside, stay there. Remember to drop, cover, and hold on. Drop down onto your hands and knees and cover your head and neck with your arms to protect yourself from falling objects. If you can move safely, crawl under a sturdy desk or table and hold on to one of the legs until the shaking stops. After an earthquake, help people who are hurt or trapped. Call 911 for emergencies only. Check your home for damage, including gas or water leaks, damaged wiring, or downed power lines. Protect your family and your home by making a plan, building a kit, and practicing disaster drills at least twice a year. Be sure to visit readyoc.org for more information on emergency preparedness and alertoc.com to sign up for emergency alerts and notifications. We want you to be prepared for a disaster just as much as you do.
Welcome back. Well, I'd like to welcome Under Sheriff Bob Peterson here with us from the Orange County Sheriff's Department. Well, welcome and thank you for being with us.
Well, thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome. And you've got a lot of things to cover. 2019 accomplishments as well as 2020 goals. And the sheriff couldn't be here today, so thank you so much for filling in. I appreciate it. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first, the sheriff says he sends his apologies for not being able to make it. He's a little under the weather, like so many are right now. I've been with the Sheriff's Department 30 years. I started straight out of high school. As I tell people, my first job was washing inmates' clothing in the basement of the Central Men's Jail at 19 years old.
Oh, wow.
22 years later, I came back to command that same facility I worked at. I've had a very bright career. I've been very fortunate at the Sheriff's Department. Back then, 2 investigators found me in a warehouse as I was homeless and provided me an opportunity that has changed my life forever. So
that's amazing.
Been very, very fortunate.
Well, and I know that homelessness is one of the things that you guys are paying very close attention to, which we'll talk about in just a bit.
Sure.
So let's talk about some of the reform things that have happened in the jail, that's been going on.
Yeah, the sheriff has really focused on the jail, certainly in 2019. We recently opened up what we call our Humvee unit, which is a housing unit for our military veterans, to bring them in an environment around other inmates that have military experience, along with our deputies that have some experience, so that we can help them reprogram and get back into society.
Okay.
We also have opened up a behavioral mental health module. This is to provide services in the jail for our mentally ill inmates. Right now, we're running around 30% of our inmate population has some mental health illness.
Wow.
And it's a big issue, and if we can address those things inside the jail, then when we let them out into the streets, they may be able to program better and have a more productive life.
And this has been something I think that has been called for quite some time, because we do see that mental illness it's on the rise. And if you're able to address it at that base, I think that's awesome. And are you bringing in hospitals or doctors from around the area to help with that?
We're bringing in multiple organizations to help us, both internally and externally. We work very closely with the Orange County Healthcare Agency.
Okay.
And they bring in their specialists to help us out, right? Plus, we have non-government organizations, NGOs, that are helping with the transition when they get released, like a working wardrobe. Let's say they get out, they need they need some good clothes, a suit to do a job interview so that they can secure that job, and other veteran organizations.
Okay.
Along with that, last year the sheriff had implemented, we used to release inmates in the middle of the night. And we recognize that there are no services for those inmates. There's the transportation issues, the outreach issues that are available. So we stopped doing that. Now we release inmates at 8 o'clock in the morning at business hours so that they can receive the services that they need.
Smart. Great. Thank you for doing that. I think that's a good idea.
Been very productive.
So enhanced school safety, that sounds good. What's that entail?
So we have a multi-layer approach on that. We recently formed what we call the OC STAT team, right? It's School Threat Assessment Team. That's designed for students that maybe move from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, or district to district, I guess is more appropriate. This assessment team's able to communicate and collaborate with our school system and our public safety partners to make sure that we're all on the same page to protect our schools. We also have our school mobile assessment team, resource team, which is SMART, as we call it. They work closely with the schools and addresses any threats that might come up to make sure our kids are safe. In conjunction, we have the Orange County Intelligent Assessment Center, which is our OCIAC. That's the super secret people that handle investigations, work closely with the federal government to make sure that our communities and our schools are safe.
I'm awaiting them to come on the show.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
It'll be very exciting.
I'm hoping so. All right, and then also the homelessness. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, homeless is, as you know, is a big issue, not just in Orange County, but in California, across the country. The sheriff is 100% committed in trying to help resolve some of these issues. Unfortunately, a lot of people think it's an issue of crime, and for us it's not. One, we have to have the tools to help deal with it. We have to always abide by the law. Part of that, we created what we call our homeless outreach team, or our HOT team.
Okay.
This team of deputies across the county are out trying to provide the services and help the homeless in the ways that we can legally. If there are issues that require legal action, then we will certainly take those actions. But it's a collaborative effort amongst the community and law enforcement to try and address these issues.
When some of your deputies are approaching the homelessness, are they frightened, or are they receiving it well?
Well, certainly with our HOT team, they're not frightened because we're using some of the most advanced computer systems and information systems that are available. And they know those deputies are coming out there to provide them with resources to help get them off the street, you know, and get them into housing, get them the things and services that they need. So they're not frightened. It's a relationship, and that's what we're trying to build.
Excellent. And there are going to be more and more resources for them coming up here in the next few years, I think. So that's excellent. Okay, so let's look at 2020. What are you guys projecting are some of the highlights of what you want to focus on?
Well, we certainly want to focus on crime, keeping our crime rates down. The sheriff supports any legislation that's going to increase enhancements, certainly with the property crime issues that I think we've all been experiencing. Make sure you read your ballots. Make sure you carefully read all your ballots before you vote, right?
Exactly.
We are going to try and reduce property crime, focus on that. We're certainly keeping an eye on school safety. We have a lot of things there that we want to make sure our schools are safe.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then drug education for youth and their parents. I mean, it's not just, it's opioids, it's all other kinds of drugs, and I know that the sheriff has focused very heavily on fentanyl, which we know is awful. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so the education component, we take it in a kind of a three-tier approach. We want to make sure our legislative folks, our politicians are educated. Certainly when they're passing laws, we want to teach the schools, our teachers, and our local governmental officials, and we want to make sure we're teaching students and parents about the dangers of drug use.
Right.
This is a tough topic in this state, as you know. The fentanyl epidemic is really a challenge for us because last year alone we seized 168 pounds of fentanyl. And in 2015 we seized none. And just in perspective, if you look at the eye of Lincoln on a penny, if you fill that eye area, that's enough to overdose on. And 33 pounds of fentanyl could kill the entire population of Orange County. It's just extremely dangerous. So we're really focusing on getting into the schools, getting into the community, trying to educate them on the dangers of the drugs that are out there today.
That's a smart move because you want to start young, you know, let them know because it's getting younger and younger, so excellent.
Yes.
Okay, lastly, strong community relationships. I know you guys are out and about all the time with lots of different events that are going on, and you have various partners. Tell me about some of the things that you're going to be working on with those partners.
Well, we work with the Special Olympics. I'll run down some of the things.
Sure.
Special Olympics, we have an Interfaith Advisory Council. We're working closely with the Core Church in trying to create an interactive collaboration meeting to bring our communities together, especially with our diverse communities. Coffee with a Cop. We recently, last year, this is something that's really good for your viewers, we have a Take Me Home program that all the cities in the sheriff jurisdiction has opened up. This program allows you to go on to the web, sign up for young or old, those members or your loved ones that sometimes might get lost, right? If you register with the Take Me Home program and you get lost or a loved one gets lost and one of our deputies finds you, you're in our system. We'll be able to get you home safely.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a great program to sign up for those that sometimes need our help. So we know who you are and we can get you home safely.
Excellent, excellent. Now let's look at just a couple other things before we have to close off. National Night Out. What is that?
National Night Out. That's something that literally is a national program. It's when law enforcement comes out with the community. We engage with them as again, partners, right? Our young men and women in uniform, we're your average citizens. We're your moms, dads, your brothers, sisters, cousins, nephews, and nieces. It allows us to go out there, work with the community, talk about the topics that we're facing, and just let them know, hey, we're part of you. We're a family.
Well, it's good to be accessible because then I think you might be able to educate a little bit more. So fantastic. Thank you so much for being with us. I appreciate it.
Sure. No, thank you for the
And
invitation.
give the sheriff best wishes here.
We'll give him some vitamin C. And get
Some
him better.
vitamin C. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks.
And remember, if you would like to know more information about what we just discussed here, you can always go to ocsd.org. We'll be right back.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
Vacation where you live. The Towers offers the amenities and services of a hotel, daily lunches and three-course dinners, weekly housekeeping, spacious floor plans with panoramic views, on-site maintenance, daily activities, and a 24-hour reception desk. Visit us at towers@lagunawoodsvillage.com.
Do you know how secure your money and personal information will be on your next real estate transaction? Escrow Options Group is the only escrow company trained by the FBI on fraud. We also carry cyber fraud protection and have received the largest industry security measure, the SSAE certification. Ask your real estate professional to open escrow with Escrow Options Group to ensure the protection of your funds and personal information on your real estate transaction.
Welcome to Harvard Eye Associates. We have been proudly serving Orange County for over 40 years. We are excited to announce our Laguna Hills location will be moving to a larger, state-of-the-art facility in January 2020, located a block away from our previous location. Our new facility will be conveniently located next to Saddleback Hospital and across from Nordstrom Rack at 23961 Calle de la Magdalena. Come join the Circle of Care at Harvard Eye Associates, where the future of vision is today.
And I'd like to welcome back with me today Dr. Brian Kim with Harvard Eye Associates, and it is Macular Degeneration Awareness Month, and it's always great to have you on, and we're going to get to this cool new device in just a few minutes, so welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, wonderful to have you here today, and I know you've talked about this subject several times in the past, so let's first, if people are not aware, what is macular degeneration? What's going on?
So macular degeneration is, I'm sure most people have heard about this, or if not, had somebody who's very close to them afflicted with it. It's very common, but it's a reason that we oftentimes will develop central vision loss. So for example, at this distance, you might not see somebody's face.
Okay.
Now, that's the biggest problem, is that that's your most functional vision for reading and driving and watching TV, and that's how you get around. However, in macular degeneration, you always keep your peripheral vision, so it is not a total...
Oh, you do?
You do.
Okay.
So it's not a totally blinding condition, meaning you can take care of yourself and do certain things that you need to do, of course, oftentimes with great difficulty. And that's the problem that we encounter, is that we need the detail, which we're missing.
Yeah, of course. Now, does it commonly happen to both eyes at the same time?
Typically, yes.
Wow.
Either symmetrically or a little asymmetrically, but yeah.
Why is that?
Well, it's...
Because I know sometimes with your vision, you know, you and your other doctors have talked about over the years, you may have one eye that's still 20/20, the other one might have astigmatism or whatever it might be. So why is this one usually bilateral?
This is something that's sort of like having the film in your camera. It's just a little come into the end of life here. It's a little expired, and we're starting to get a weakening of that. And there are several components that play into the factor. The biggest one being smoking, but unfortunately, this day and age, we're not smokers as much. But the second biggest one is really age. And the older we get, it's going to start to accelerate. And the last one is genetics. So a lot of these things are unmodifiable factors that, they're just sort of out of our control, and we just get it.
Yeah, so there's nothing you can really, I mean, smoking obviously, but in general, it's something that, well, had you done this, or now we can find it, you can do this to help stave it off, or it just happens.
Yeah, it's just not up to us. So that's the biggest problem, is that we don't have a great treatment for it, either dry or, I mean, wet macular degeneration we can control to some degree, but ultimately it's going to deteriorate in time. And so, it's one of those things that we're actively looking for a cure. We're just not that close, unfortunately.
Okay.
So in the meantime, we have to look towards things that try to enhance our lifestyle and try to not limit our mobility and day-to-day tasks. So.
Yeah, and you know, on the screen here we have the typical low vision aids that we have seen that's been around for quite a while.
Correct. Yeah, with macular degeneration, the most important thing is really light, and the second most important thing is magnification. So if you have devices that you need to see something up close, a lighted magnifying glass or a digital magnifying glass like the one that's shown here as well, or if you're trying to read something larger print like a book or a magazine, sometimes you have to display it larger on a closed circuit TV.
Okay.
But that's really for things up close, and then for distance you really need telescopes or binoculars or something. So you're constantly just shuffling between different devices that you need at all times.
Right.
And it's very task dependent. So if you go to the grocery store, for example, and you want to see, what's in aisle 6, well, you need binoculars to see down what aisle 6, what's in aisle 6, and then you need to pick up something and actually read it. So you actually need two separate things that you have to carry around with you at all times. Now, the biggest problem with a lot of these is, as anyone who's tried to use a magnifying glass, is it magnifies great, but if you're trying to read a line of text, for example, you get to the end of the line and you lose your context and you don't know where the beginning of the next line is. And so that's what we've tried to do, and this has been my passion, is really, as you know, is macular degeneration and retinal conditions and trying to fight blindness. And so, for the past 3 or 4 years now, we've been trying to develop, I've been working with a team of engineers to try and develop something, a solution that kind of combines everything together, something that's portable, something that's electronic, high-tech, and something that's not too outlandish, that you can hopefully, it's not too socially awkward, but something that will enhance the functionality of people just to get back into their day-to-day life.
And what you have here, this device, and the name of the company is Idaptic?
So the name of the company is Idaptic, and we have a device, it's called augmented reality. So I think most people are familiar with virtual reality.
Yeah.
And that's sort of where you enclose your whole field of view into a screen. Now, augmented reality, we don't want to close people off because their peripheral vision is perfect.
Right.
So we want to just change the central vision. And so what we do here is, and on the screen we have a simulated view of kind of what we see, is we try to take the central vision and selectively magnify what's important. And we can do that automatically. So if you're looking at text, the device will actually recognize text and magnify it to your preferred size text, no matter what you're looking at. And then if you look away, it will automatically zoom out and you can find your context again. So, but if you'll notice also on the screen, is that it blends with the outside. So if when you get to the end of the line, you have your visual cues to follow that back to the next line, and it really keeps your scope and your peripheral.
Now, will the person that has this condition, macular degeneration, with these glasses, will they still see a dark spot?
Yes, unfortunately we can't get rid of that, but if we can try and maximize and more efficiently utilize the good areas of vision, then that's what we're trying to do. So,
right.
Yeah, optimize that.
Yeah, and of course, augmented reality, a lot of people may, their own smart devices, their phones and things like that, there's apps, and if you've ever done that, you can push the phone around and see what you want to see. You can see, in fact, nowadays, a product you might want to be looking at for your home, like furniture.
Yes.
You can bring that up and walk around and see how it looks. And in a sense, this is utilizing that same technology. Right?
Exactly right, yeah.
Really interesting. Right, so you developed these. I remember you telling me about this. So it took some time to come up with this.
Yes, and we've done our clinical trials, our initial clinical trials, and we've been able to show that that it really enhances reading speed by about 5 times, and it can improve acuity or effective visual acuity by 100%.
Wow.
And of course, it depends on the type and the specific subtype of macular degeneration that somebody develops, and it also depends on the level of vision. So, we try to get the brain to adapt to a new way of seeing. So the earlier you start, really, as it progresses further, the brain's already well adjusted to using them, and the technology, by the time it gets to the point where you're really pretty impaired. So.
Right, and you've talked to me about this before, as have a lot of the other doctors from Harvard Eye. Just in vision in general, sometimes you come across a person, and I don't know if the term used to be a term, a lazy eye or something, and it's looking off to the side. And I remember asking Dr. John Hovhannissian about that years ago, and I go, are they seeing the side? He goes, well, no, especially if they were born that way. Their brain has developed. It's just normal for them. Everything comes together. So that, in a sense, what happens here, your brain will adjust to it.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when we look at these in the front, you're not really are you even looking out of these?
The central optics, yeah. No, there's actually 2 screens that are mounted right behind them.
All right, I'm going to let you handle that, because that's
sure.
I don't want to drop that.
Yeah, there are actually 2 screens that are mounted right behind each of these central lenses, and there's a camera that's right in front.
Okay.
And there's a computer. It's basically a smartphone computer that processes all the images and allows you to do it. But the goal is to make this hands-free. So there's no button pushing. You don't have to worry about futzing with any sort of
You don't need a smart design to pair with it.
You put it on, and that it should be ready to go.
Wow.
So once we get it all tuned to you, and once your brain's able to adapt to it, we really see a significant improvement.
Wow.
For a lot of people, about 80% of people who use it show a significant improvement in their reading ability.
So if someone wants one of these, or they're at the point that they could use this, I know you said out there you just came out with these a couple months ago. Do they have to get a prescription for it? Can they just buy it? How does one go about that, since this is new and it's just coming out right now?
So this is something that, one, we have to make sure that that somebody's able to use this. If your vision's too good, you're not going to see the full benefit of it.
Right.
So initially, we want a full evaluation first to make sure that you're at the level of vision that you would qualify for the use of these glasses. So any eye doctor could really do that for you. And with that, you can either, one, schedule an appointment with me for an initial evaluation through Harvard Eye Associates, or you can go, number 2 is go directly to the website for iDaptic, idaptic.com, and send them an email, and we're more than happy to get you suited up.
So you have these manufactured already. They're ready to go.
Yeah, they're ready to go. And so right now we're currently entering our early release phase. So we want to do this locally, since this is my area, of course, but we're doing it in select locations throughout the country already. And so we've got a reduced price for the early adopters, and soon it's going to be sold nationally, pretty widespread. So
what's so cool about anything like this, particularly the fact that you're helping folks that didn't have any other alternative before, that does 2 different things, as you said, distance and close up. But the technology that you're using here is fantastic, and yet every year it's just going to improve, as we've seen. And this is just the start, which is unbelievable. You should be very proud of this.
Thank you.
And your entire team and everyone who helped with this. This is remarkable.
Oh, well, thank you so much. You're absolutely right. The augmented reality technology is just going to get better and better, and we're able to adapt with the changing technology. So as the devices get better, we can get better. So the sky is the limit, really, for us.
Yeah, I think it is too. Brian, always good to see you.
And thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you folks from Harvard. I say hi to your dad for me and everyone else over there. And they're at their new location, which is, I forget the street that it's off of.
It's Calle de la Magdalena.
Okay, and it's the silver, the mirrored building that's right across from the mall in that area. And, great new facility. We're going to go over there sometime soon and do sort of a walkthrough. Maybe I'll get an eye exam again. Perfect. It'll be great. You take care, and we'll be right back.
Individual care, specialized care. At Harvard Eye Associates, your vision and quality of life can be trusted to a group of specialists that provide advanced technology for the treatment of cataracts, including laser-assisted surgery, a broad range of intraocular lenses, and astigmatism correction. Come join the circle of care at Harvard Eye Associates, where the future of vision is today.
Most real estate agents stick to the 3 Ps of marketing. They place it on the MLS, They put up a sign and pray that it sells. Laguna Premier Realty takes a different approach to marketing your home. From professional and high-quality photos to high-definition video, single property websites, and 3D virtual tours. We will make your property stand out and, most importantly, sell. So whether you are looking to list your current home or find your dream home in the Village, Laguna Premier Realty is here to help.
Did you know that the Laguna Hills Lodge was originally built as a place for relatives or friends to stay when they were visiting? In 1968, Laguna Woods' residents built the first 2 buildings of the lodge because they wanted a place close by for visitors to stay. Since then, the lodge has become the spare bedroom for the Laguna Woods' residents. The lodge has received the TripAdvisor Award of Excellence 8 years in a row. We invite you to stay in one of our recently remodeled garden rooms and take advantage of a special offer for Laguna Woods' residents, family, and friends.
Ernest Hemingway wrote The Old Man and the Sea at 52. Satchel Paige was still dominating batters at 59. Celia Cruz was still winning Grammys at 77. John Wheeler illuminated our ideas of the universe at 70. And Roger Crouch was 56 when he first went into space. Your best is yet to come.
Welcome back. Well, from Kaiser Permanente, we have Dr. Mova Hedi, who is here to talk to us about something that we all are concerned about, aging. Well, we hope you have some really good youth answers for this for us today.
I'll try my best.
Well, welcome. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So you've been with Kaiser Permanente for some time.
I've been with Kaiser Permanente for 19 years.
Okay.
Yes, I practice in the field of nephrology, which is kidney specialty.
All right.
And because a large number of my patients happen to be elderly, throughout my career I have clued into the aging well mechanisms because as we age well, our organs age well.
Oh, good.
And it's all about our health and organ health. In my specialty, kidneys.
Okay.
So, and there are some general recipes that I think we can all follow.
Well, I love it. All right, perfect. So in evaluating our aging process, first of all, what is aging?
That's a great question. And, you know, there is probably not one definition of aging in the scientific community, but simply put, as when we are born, our body is in a constant state of flux, constant state of changing. Our cells constantly are turning over, getting newer cells, and that whole process of breaking down and repairing is constantly going on in our body. Now, through time, as we age, that process is not as accurate or is not as robust. And the process of breaking down is probably a little bit faster. So that change in the breaking down and repair is probably internally what the cells see as the aging process.
Okay.
And it is something that is through time, that basically a process that changes through time.
Okay. So as we start to notice things changing, which we may not be very concerned about them at an early age, but maybe as you approach 40s and 50s, we start to really see changes.
Absolutely.
Is there a particular type of mental stability that we need to have when we see those changes?
Absolutely, and we'll be talking about that. I think the aging is not both physical, and there's definitely a mental component to that. There's definitely a spiritual component to that as well. And the whole issue of accepting and understanding and educating is definitely a part of aging well. And that's something that I hope that we can cover today.
All right, excellent. So when we talk about the speed of aging, everybody ages differently because I would look at someone my same age and go, wow, there's not a wrinkle on their face. How does that happen?
Correct. So if you might have heard the terms antioxidants or anti-inflammatories. The processes internally that happens that we call aging are probably issues of oxidation or oxidative stress or inflammatory stress. And so for all of us, it's a little bit different. Now, in the field of medicine, we usually say we have a 40-40-20 rule. 40-40-20 rule.
Okay.
40% of what determines health and illness for us is our genetics. We're born with it. It's a card that we're dealt with. There's nothing else we can do about that. Another 40%, though, is our lifestyle. It's how we interact with the environment around us that determines our health or illness state. And 20% is modern medicine. So we all age differently because we all have different genetics, and we all have different way of behaving in terms of health. And well, thanks to modern medicine, that 20% has really taken us a long way, as we have seen at least in the past 100, 150 years in terms of the longevity that we have been able to achieve.
Now you mentioned some recipes. So are your recipes to stop the aging process or reverse it?
Right. Well, the good news is that I think we have been able to somewhat reverse aging. Again, if you think about it, 100, 150 years ago, the median age for a human being on the planet was probably in the 40s. In the United States, we're now looking close to 80s. So in a sense, we have reversed aging, but in probably better way of putting it is that we have slowed down the aging process. And I think medicine has really helped. I think understanding the aging process has really helped us in doing that. And I have a feeling, and all the data points to that point, towards that, is that as in the future generations, will probably live longer. So we will continue to slow down that aging process.
Wow, yeah, and we have tons and tons of numbers over 65, and it's growing, you know, rapidly, actually.
That's exactly
so it's good to understand as much as you guys do now. What are some new technologies that you're seeing coming down the pike to be able to understand aging?
So the science of aging is rapidly changing. So in terms of the nice, shiny, new things, I think probably nothing takes the front row seat there, like the field of regenerative medicine, so stem cell therapy. It is very nascent, but I am hopeful that at least in my career life, I see that in action. There are areas that we are seeing regenerative medicine being applied with very good success.
Wonderful.
But you know, the science moves very fast. So even though the technology is nascent, I have a good feeling that in the next decade or two, we will see some really good results and good ways of progressing forward.
Excellent, excellent. And then lastly, what are some keys to aging well?
Right, and that's what I wanted to really talk about today. I've actually provided a slide. I don't know if you're showing that.
It's right behind us, and we'll bring that up in just a second.
Yes, so you know, I've in my conversations with my patients in trying to sort of make this stick, I've worked with an acronym that's called self-care.
Okay.
And self-care, every letter really stands for an aspect of living healthy.
Okay.
That is in there. So self-care starts with the letter S, which starts with sleep.
I knew you were going to say
that. Yeah, so that's probably, as we age, is one of the number one factors that determines our state of health. And specifically our brain health. Two major things happen when we sleep. Number one, our circadian rhythm is set, which basically determines our hormonal release, and hormones basically control our body. So that's number one reason why sleep is important. The second one is that the brain's system of trash pickup, if you will, is in the overwork when we sleep. So there are more waste removal from our brains when we sleep. So that's why sleeping is so important. If you had a bad night's sleep and you wake up in the morning kind of groggy, why do you think that is? It's because your brain hasn't really been flushed out well.
Right.
But the good night, deep sleep helps with that process.
Okay.
And in there, the advice is, sleep hygiene, putting down your book or turning off the TV before you go to bed. and do not drink coffee before you go to bed, that kind of stuff. And it's, the information is abundant out there, but sleep hygiene is number one, and
Right.
S stands for that.
Right, and and that's a long word, sleep care, and we only have our little 10 minutes
That's
to go
right,
through
that's
it.
right,
So,
that's
but
right.
if everyone can remember sleep care, that way they can look on the website. I
Yes.
suppose we'll probably have that information
Yes,
under
yes,
aging.
we do.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Any last things?
Not on that. I think the only other thing that I would say is that also take an afternoon nap. It does wonders for your brain.
I like that
So
idea.
no more than 30 minutes,
Okay.
but an afternoon nap there's been a lot of studies, NASA's done studies on that. It really goes a long way in terms of the health.
Excellent. Well,
Yes.
I'm ready to take my afternoon nap right now. Thank you so much for the information. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right.
So the second component of the care is basically in that slide, and that can be basically achieved by your members, and it's also on our website.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All right. And remember, if you want any additional information, you can go to kp.org/Orange County. We'll be right back.
Did you know there are over 400,000 seniors in Orange County today? So where does a senior or family caregiver go for information and resources? You can turn to the Answers Guide published by the Council on Aging Southern California. Answers is full of articles and resources to help you navigate the aging experience. You can pick up your free copy today at the clubhouse nearest you or at the Social Services Office. The Council on Aging, helping seniors remain healthy, connected, and protected.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The Subaru Outback is all new for 2020. With standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus up to 33 miles per gallon. An available 260 horsepower turbocharged engine, advanced technology, and an extra-large touchscreen. Welcome to the best Outback ever, the 2020 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you.
Come into Irvine Subaru and get complimentary maintenance included on all new Subarus and celebrate the Subaru A Lot to Love event.
The opioid epidemic is affecting countless lives, including young adults. Did you know approximately 45% of opioid prescriptions to adolescents are made by dentists, often after wisdom teeth removal? These drugs carry risks, but you can help reduce your risk or the risk for a loved one. If prescribed an opioid, ask your dentist to consider limiting prescriptions to 3 days, using over-the-counter pain relievers, and properly disposing of unused medications. For more information, go to shatterproof.org. This has been a message from Shatterproof, United Healthcare, and this station.
How are you making the most of your life, and do you apply that same devotion to planning your financial future? A train off its tracks goes nowhere. Having a financial plan that is consistent with your lifestyle will keep you on track through your retirement years.
Align Wealth Advisors specializes in creating a financial strategy that best fits your needs and your lifestyle, now and in the future.
Align Wealth Advisors. Life, wealth, balance.
Looking for a change of scenery? You don't have to play golf to enjoy all that 19 Restaurant and Lounge has to offer. From a delicious breakfast menu to our delectable lunch and dinner specials. At 19 Restaurant and Lounge, there is something for everyone. Relax with your friends and family and take in the beautiful view from our spacious patio. Or enjoy a cocktail and appetizer in our lounge. 19 Restaurant and Lounge is a great place to socialize, enjoy a meal, or simply take in the view. Join us 7 days a week and experience Laguna Woods' exclusive dining experience.
Well, it's always nice to have the guys on from our wonderful American Legion right here at the Post 257, and Dennis Powell is here today, and Joe Rainey. Great to see you both, gentlemen.
Thank you for inviting us. Ken. It's always good to be here.
Yeah, welcome back, and as usual, you got a lot going on, and one of the things you always like to mention to folks is the monthly dinner that's coming up. Everybody's invited, right?
That's right. We have a monthly dinner meeting the fourth Thursday of every month at 5 p.m. at Clubhouse 1 in the main dining room. All Laguna Woods Village residents are welcome. We are looking to add to our membership, so we're encouraging Any and all veterans who haven't checked us out, please come to the dinner or check us out online. And I'll be mentioning those locations online. There's two. There's our local post, and there's also the national website.
Yeah.
What I'd like to address first is the menu at our meeting this month in February. Will be on Thursday, the 27th of February at 5 p.m. Clubhouse 1 Main Dining Room, our regular venue. The meetings are the fourth Thursday of every month, as I mentioned. The menu will be fruit salad, garden salad with ranch or Italian dressing, beef stroganoff with egg noodles, chicken Dijon, steamed vegetables, rolls and butter, decaf coffee and water. Wine and beer are also available. Dessert will be apple pie. The cost is $15 per person at the door. All Laguna Woods Village residents are welcome to attend, and we encourage you to. So for reservations, call Jackie Yenser at 949-228-2744, no later than February 25th.
And again, it is on Thursday, the 27th, correct?
That is correct.
Yes. All right.
Thursday, and every meeting we have either entertainment or a guest speaker. So, and we'll have a guest speaker at this meeting as well.
Yeah, and your guest speaker will be Diane Phelps, and I think a lot of you folks who've watched the board meetings know Diane. She is, well, what she is now is on the VMS board. However, she is also involved with the new foundation here, it's not the Golden Rain Foundation. It is one that benefits the community. It's different than the foundation of Laguna Woods Village. She has talked about it before, and I'm sure when she comes to your meeting, she'll talk about that. And it's a way for people to, well, to put it in a very simplistic term, suppose somebody wants to donate something that, that helps the different facilities around here, maybe put their name up or whatever it might be. They're still kind of working all that through, but that's what she's involved with.
Good.
Yeah. So she's a wonderful person. Yeah.
Great. We'll look forward to that.
Could I mention about that we are non-political?
That's what I'm getting into next.
Okay, go for it.
Absolutely. An important point. The American Legion is a non-political organization. The Legion avoids politics. If we were going to go to a political rally, we wouldn't wear our hats.
Okay.
It should be noted, however, that we do consider ourselves to be patriots. And we do honor traditional American values. Among those values, we uphold and defend the Constitution of our republic, maintain law and order, foster and perpetuate 100% Americanism, and we combat the autocracy of the classes and the masses. And what that means is we defend our principles and our country against enemies from without and from within. Now, should you consider joining our post, as we hope you will, members can be as active or inactive as they please in the American Legion. And before I add more to that, I wanted to ask you, Commander Joe. Joe's the commander of our post, and I'm one of the vice commanders. Did you have anything else to mention about being non-political?
Well, that's in our charter.
Right.
We were chartered by the U.S. Congress
in 1919.
as a veterans organization, which is open to any veteran that served since Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th, 1941. So you don't have to serve during times of war. Mainly that you put yourselves out there, men and women in the military, defending our country. And a special welcome to those who served during what some people call peacetime. But in the military, you find out that you're one order away from being deployed. No matter what your job is, they can change your orders in an instant if the country gets into a conflict.
Right.
So, you know, I would like to invite anyone that served since Pearl Harbor Day to please check us out, come by, have some apple pie, and we'd love to have you part of our organization.
And you folks do a lot of different things. I know last time, Dennis, when you were on, you brought pictures about helping out. There's a school down in Camp Pendleton.
Mary Kay Pendleton,
yeah,
elementary school.
Yeah, and many different things you folks do, right? Helping out the community.
We are a service organization, and I'm going to mention the Boys State and Girls State in closing, which are programs that we do. We send school people, they're high school, or
they're high school boys and girls,
to Sacramento to learn about the workings of our government. They don't teach it anymore in the school, so it's been a very successful program. We've been doing it for years. I'm not personally involved with it. Next time I'd like to bring one of our colleagues who's more involved to talk about it, and he can bring some video.
That'd be great. Yeah.
I've been on the interviews for Boys State, and these students really are amazing. They're all straight A students. They're all involved in their schools and the community. And it's just really fun to just even meet these kids. But the hard part, we have to select only two or three every year. And one other thing we do is our posts, the main charity of our posts when we were started in Laguna Woods back in '67, I believe, was to visit the veterans in the hospitals.
Yes, yeah, of
We've
course.
been doing that every year since 1967. And we go up and we visit with the sick veterans and play bingo, and they really enjoy us.
And that's wonderful. You know, I want to mention the website. There's two. The local one is al257.org, very easy. And then the national one is legion.org. And you can go on there and find out all kinds of information. Really encourage you folks to, you know, become a member because they do such good work. But not only that, there are just a friendship that really involves everyone that gets in with the American Legion. It is fantastic. It's only $45 a year.
Correct.
And what you get for that is just remarkable. And of course, you do the dinners every month. You do all kinds of different things. Gentlemen, we're just about out of time.
Okay.
So we'll see you next time in about a month. We'll find out more. I do want to tell you folks, you know, again, the weather's going to be pretty nice today. Little scattered clouds and a couple degrees cooler. But overall, just really beautiful. Maybe we'll get that little bit of rain as we go Friday night into Saturday. I think we'll get some rain. I'm not going to say how much. It's probably not going to be too much, but any little bit will help. And, you know, great weather overall. We need this rain, so that'll be great. And then we go right back to sunshine really as we get to Sunday and into next week. So we are running out of time, so I want to say again, thank Joe and Dennis for being here today. The American Legion Post 257. Check into that and check us out tomorrow. See you then.
Thank you.